Alright, movie review roundtable watchers, today is Inception. For some reason, this is the most anticipated movie by men across the country. It won the Anticipation Award from Spike TV.
This is going to be such a good movie. It's his first one since Dark Knight, obviously, and I'm excited.
This is my most anticipated movie of the year. I've been looking forward to this movie ever since I saw the trailer.
I'm a huge Chris Nolan fan. His track record's impeccable. The guy can do no wrong. I really think his writing and his directing for Inception, it's really going to set the bar, and everybody else is just going to have to struggle to keep up.
What the fuck did we just watch? That shit. I want to say, there was definitely times where I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about or doing, but I was still like, this is cool.
I'm gonna have to see it again, but I liked it. I don't know that it needed to be IMAX. There weren't so many effects, but I loved it.
Honestly, I mean, he blew me away with this one. I'm just totally mind blown. It was everything I expected it to be. It was more than I expected it to be. Incredibly complex film. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, he totally raised the bar with this one. He knocked this one out.
Well, I certainly thought it was ambitious, and I really don't think I understood all of it, but I thought the performances were great, the cinematography was great, and he just really knows how to direct an engaging movie for 2.5 hours.
For a movie, if I don't feel like it's 2.5 hours, that's a good sign, because I get bored in hour and a half movies.
I think he actually crafted a summer movie that you have to go see again just to figure out everything that's going on, because it's so complex. And I know when I go see it again, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, oh, that makes sense. All right, now I get it.
If we're going to tell a story, why not tell a story that means something to the world?
Right, and that's the only aspect of the movie that I thought could have been a little different. There could have been a larger some sort of, something bigger, something that would, yeah, like you said, involve more people, a bigger consequence for everybody going on, rather than my company wants to get bigger than your company. Right. That would be the only nitpick that I could have about this.
Yeah, and also I didn't really, I don't know if I just like missed it or something, but I didn't really understand the whole concept of how going into their dreams actually worked and how it developed. It seemed like they only went into that for like a short scene, but they went into a lot of the rules of how it worked.
How so many people knew how to do it? Was there like a school or something?
Yeah, I think it just became we had to generally accept that in this world, it became something that if you had enough money, you did.
I actually appreciated that, because I don't like when movies want to explain too much. Just entertain me. I don't really need to know why, because it's a movie. I'll just go with it. But the stuff in the dreams, I don't usually watch buy like Blu-rays and like do the director's comments, but I would on this movie. I was like, did they have an anti-gravity chamber? Like, no way they erased that many wires.
Those fight scenes in the hotel room, my God! Can I just train to do that? I just want to be a stunt person to do those things. That's awesome.
And sitting there as as an independent producer director, I'm sitting there going, how can I do this on my small little scale? How can I pull something like this off? And honestly, I really think that it started with the writing, because he had a really engaging story.
He continued to shoot everything in a really like handheld, you were there in the moment, and he continued with that aesthetic throughout the entire movie, and it made the special effects like even more believable and engaging along with the story. Thought that was really impressive.
Me as a director, as a writer, even when I did Dead Girl, I tried to create these dream sequences, and obviously partially budget, but he would take things that I would normally think of and then go 10,000 times further than I would ever imagine. Like wrapping them up with the cord and dragging. It's like, I can't even talk right now because my brain can't comprehend.
How did you take that in your mind and get that onto script and write so deep and so vivid on everything that's going on? I wish someday I could be like 10% of what that script was.
It seems like he almost had to go, 2 or 3 dreams deep just to be like, oh, this would be really cool, because as long as I'm redefining this world, I can redefine the world within. Oh, that's awesome. And
the big criticisms that I read on the internet before this came out was the fact that this was just going to be a copy or a re-imaging of Dreamscape, the Dennis Quaid movie.
No,
not at all. Not at all. I mean, he might have taken a concept from there, but I mean, he blew that movie. I mean, and I like that movie. It was a good movie for its time, but he blew that away. And honestly, I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite movies, but this one, I think he just upped the bar even that much more.
If I thought it was familiar to any movie, or similar to any movie, I would say The Matrix. I kind of felt a lot of Matrix there. And it was a true original, definitely, but if there's any movie that I thought it was a little too much like, I would say maybe The Matrix.
When you think The Matrix, though, it's because it's reimagining movies again. Because you always think, how can you take a movie further? Like Matrix, when it came out, it blew our minds. And now it's like, fuck, you took that and you blew my mind even further. And now you think, how do you top this? What do you do after this?
If it did raise the bar from what The Matrix did, is that it was a lot more emotionally engaging with the characters and with their backstory and where it goes and just the ending and how unexpected everything is. It was definitely more emotionally engaging, and that was surprising.
I mean, it brings you in, it tells, you know, a really good story, and it shows you visuals that nobody is doing right now.
The concept of this whole dream world and crafting those visuals like we did. Like, yeah, this is going to be so complex and so mind-bending that people will go for the ride.
Now, one thing I will say, I mean, we're talking about the goal and maybe it needed bigger consequences, but I say it was incredibly clever how they achieved that goal. And something small and minute in the real world became this huge thing in the dream world, in the many layers of the dream world. I mean, wow, amazing.
And I don't know how he did that with the dreams within the dreams. Like, I mean, just as an aspiring writer, stuff like that you geek out on. It blows your mind, and you don't even know how a mind works on that level.
But it really makes
it's intimidating.
Yeah, it makes you look at your own writing and say, okay, I've got this story that goes from point A to point B. How can I make it go from point A to point Z?
Christopher Nolan's really good at going, how do I go from point A to point Q to point F and to Z and back to A? And you're like, I'm kind of confused, but I'm still with you.
Parkour of script writing. How can I do it the most creative way to get from here to here?
And us as independent filmmakers, I mean, we don't have the big budgets and you know, the grandiose, you know, Hollywood studio system. All we really have is our story and whatever we can cobble around that. But as independent, low budget, no budget people, the story is king for us. But and I think this movie just showed us, hey, we can take that story and we can even go further and make something even more engaging.
And that's what
Leonardo DiCaprio, he's always that touchy subject. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I hate him. Usually I just tolerate him. He never really bothered me in this. And even at first I was kind of like, it's Leo trying to be an older dude who looks like a younger dude. That always just, I can't get with it. But by the end, I didn't even give a shit because the movie was so good. I think they could have cast somebody else. Sorry, Leo. But, you know, I didn't hate it. So anybody who hates Leo and's like, I don't want to see it because of Leo, I don't think he's going to bother you so much.
His performance is really based on the director that he's with. When he's like working with Scorsese or now with Nolan, you know he's gonna bring it.
I think he's a great actor. I think he's very intense. He's very good. He gets better every time.
General consensus at the end: reality or dream?
General consensus is, I'm very frustrated that he didn't tell me what he wanted it to be, and now I have to live with that.
I think that's the beauty of it, is now we can drive our own decision. And was he stuck in reality or was he stuck in a dream?
Was the whole thing a dream?
It ended right before, I think it ended right before you could have come to either conclusion, and that was great.
Brilliant.
There's plenty to think in this film, think about, and I'm going to continue to do so for the next, I don't know, the rest of my weekend. Probably go see it again. Please do yourself a favor and go see this movie. Best of the summer.
Amazing movie. It lived up to all the hype that I had for it. I'm definitely going to go see it again, and it's definitely, for me, raised the stakes of what's possible in even low budget stuff. Wow, I'm blown away. Amazing.
Not only would I recommend it, I would recommend seeing it probably more than once. And this is one of those movies that you not only see and enjoy while you're watching it, but it's definitely a great movie to think about afterwards. So, highly recommended.
Really nothing to say other than go see this movie. Do not miss this, especially if you are a filmmaker or a writer or a composer, or you do graphic effects, or you just like really good movies. It's for you. Go check it out.